Hello, Oilers fans. Austin here, and welcome back to another Oilers video. Yes, we are getting back on that daily upload grind. You love to see it, and if you do love to see it, make sure you hit that like button. Thank you very much. Now, my original video today was going to be about Tyson Barrie because there have been rumors that he may sign a pro tryout with Edmonton. Some Oilers media, Edmonton media, that I should say, have reported that they've at least contacted Tyson Barrie's camp with regards to a pro tryout. And then I was just going to talk about Tyson Barrie, his time with Edmonton, and if that would be a fit for the Oilers. But then it kind of turned into a research video, and I kind of wanted to determine where Tyson Barrie, one, would fit, and two, how to maximize Darnell Nurse's value on the team, how to maximize Darnell Nurse when he's on the ice. Obviously, they haven't really been able to find a suitable defensive partner for Darnell Nurse for a couple years now. Nurse and CC just did not work long term. And when you're the Edmonton Oilers and you have Darnell Nurse making the money that he does, and a lot of the fan discourse surrounding that, I think it would be in Edmonton's best interest to find a way to maximize when Darnell Nurse is on the ice, who he plays with, and limit who he is playing against as well. So I have, some numbers that I'm going to go through, some numbers that I've crunched, and some numbers that I found on Natural Stat Trick that I think are very interesting, and then where I would actually play Nurse, who I would play him with, and who I would play Ekholm with. Yes, I do think the Oilers might be in their best interest to actually split Ekholm and Bouchard, but I will discuss why. So before you start raging in the comments, just give me a second to explain my thoughts here. But first, let's just quickly discuss the Tyson Barrie situation. Oilers are keeping all their options on the table regarding PTOs, but they've already had conversations with Tyson Barrie. This is from Dustin Nielsen. He hosts the Nielsen Show on Edmonton Sports Talk. You can find them on YouTube, that sort of thing. Great content, by the way. So if you haven't checked out Dustin Nielsen or Edmonton Sports Talk's content, please make sure you do that. They love him in the room. Is he a fit on the ice with the way the blue line is currently built? Now, that is a good question. And I say just, my first reaction is no. I don't think he's a fit. I don't think that's what the Oilers are looking for. Obviously, on the right side right now, when it comes to that defensive group, they are weak. They don't have a lot of depth. And if there's an injury on that right side, there's not a lot of holes or players that can come up and fill any of those holes. But I did want to discuss the numbers here. So let's talk about Darnell Nurse before I go back to the Tyson Barrie situation. From the last 3 years, 2021 to 2024, at 5-on-5 in the regular season, minimum 250 minutes played. These are the defensive pairs that Edmonton has rolled out since 2021. And of course, Ekholm-Bouchard, they have been the number one pair for quite some time. The expected goals for shows that. Just their overall metrics, Ekholm and Bouchard is one of the most elite defensive pairs in the entire NHL. And why would you split them up? Why would you split those two up? Well, because if you look down just a couple spots from Ekholm and Bouchard, you have Nurse and Bouchard. Now, Nurse and Bouchard have a expected goals for percentage of 58.46%, which is very, very good. They are controlling play a lot when they do play together. However, that goals for percentage is below 50%. They're rocking a PTO of just 96 when they're on the ice, which means their shooting percentage is quite low and their save percentage is also not where it should be. So, you look at the goals for percentage, you see that they're a -5 at even strength. You go, well, that's not good. Why would you play Nurse and Bouchard? Because if those advanced metrics are anything to go by, it shows that they do control play and they control play at an elite level. They just need a few extra saves and they just need a little bit more puck luck. And that is a defensive pair that I think could really work for Edmonton, and something that I think the team should highly consider. Another really interesting defensive pair that didn't play a whole lot, but is second in expected goals for since 2021 was Broberg and Bouchard. They were a +2 in goal differential, 60% expected goals for percentage. So if Philip Broberg plays at that level in St. Louis, obviously they're going to be very happy with signing him, even though it is $4.58 million. That's a lot of money. Broberg just wasn't proven. And if you look, Broberg is nowhere else on this chart, meaning that he just didn't really put up any numbers anywhere else other than with Evan Bouchard. And of course, the top four defensive pairs all have Evan Bouchard on it in terms of the expected goals for percentage. There's a common denominator here. When Evan Bouchard is on the ice, Edmonton controls play, and they control play at an elite level. You can play Bouchard anywhere, and he elevates his defensive partner. Obviously, Ekholm and Bouchard elevate each other. Just the way their styles match, they work really well. I'm not saying Bouchard makes Ekholm better. Those two together make each other better, but I am saying Bouchard with Broberg, Bouchard with Nurse, Bouchard with Kulak elevates everybody. Just if you're into the analytics, that's at least what that shows. Now, When it comes to Darnell Nurse and where you should play him, right now you have Ekholm and Bouchard penciled in as the top defensive pair. I would highly consider splitting Ekholm and Bouchard. If you want to maximize Darnell Nurse's ice time, I would absolutely play Nurse with Bouchard, and then I would actually pair Ekholm with Emberson. If Emberson's limited role in San Jose last year is anything to go from, he had really good micro stats, really good defensive stats, you might be able to maximize an Ekholm-Emberson pair as the second pair, the unofficial second pair. And then of course, when you're defending a lead, or if you need a timely goal, you put Ekholm and Bouchard back together. But I think if you have Ekholm, that savvy veteran who's, I think, 35 now, 36, Ekholm with a young player like Emberson who's just coming into his own at the NHL level, Ekholm can be that mentor. He can be that player that can maybe elevate Emberson enough where you might be able to have those two survive as the second pair, and you might be able to have Nurse with Bouchard on the top pair. So does Edmonton sign Barrie to a pro tryout? They might, and if they do, I don't really like it. If you look at these charts here, Barrie with Nurse, Barrie with Kulak, their advanced metrics were okay. Like, they weren't terrible, but I think at this stage of Tyson Barrie's career, I just don't think that's a player Edmonton should be looking at. However, if you want him, kind of how Nashville utilized him last year, just kind of in the press box, waiting to come into the lineup if there's an injury, would Barrie want that type of role? I think Barrie's looking for, regular play time. I think he requested a trade out of Nashville last year because he wasn't getting regular ice time. Barrie still feels like he has a lot to give. I just don't know if that is with the Edmonton Oilers, and I don't know if it should be with the Edmonton Oilers, because I would like to see Emberson get a true shot, and I would like to see Troy Stecher play a lot more as well. So those are my thoughts on Bouchard, on Ekholm, on Nurse, on Barrie, that sort of thing. Now, if we look at the defensive pairs, if you were to split Ekholm and Bouchard and have Ekholm with Emberson and Nurse with Bouchard as your top two pairs, Darnell Nurse clearly just needs a stabilizing force. I think Evan Bouchard at this stage of his career, I think he has taken enough steps here in order to handle the top pair of minutes with Darnell Nurse. And I think those two together could actually work really well. That would allow Ekholm to play with Emberson, be that mentor, and then maybe you have a really, really good shutdown second defensive pair. Emberson is a shutdown D-man, Ekholm shutdown D-man. Those two, you might be able to squeeze as many tough minutes out of them as possible, allow Nurse and Bouchard to maybe take on the not quite the top lines of every other team, but really quality minutes for Nurse and Bouchard. Nurse is making the money that he is. He's not going anywhere. You have to find a way to maximize that. And then the third pair, you could have Kulak with Stecher, which I think would be just fine. Stecher in limited minutes last year, I liked what he showed. Kulak is what he is at this point. He is a third pair D-man, good skater. He moves the puck well. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the defensive situation for Edmonton. Do you think it is in Edmonton's best interest to split Ekholm and Bouchard? Do you think Nurse should play with Bouchard? Do you think that's something Edmonton should do, or do you think that they should just go out and get a true bona fide second pair right D and keep Ekholm-Bouchard as your top pair and then play Nurse with a new defender on that right side? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, if you liked today's video, make sure you hit like. If you really liked it, make sure you hit subscribe. And of course, tell someone that you love them. I'll see you in the next one, Oil Country. Take care.